Good morning, Flutarians. Welcome back to another session of the Atomic Flutist. So, I studied music at the University of North Texas, and before that at the High School for Performing Arts, and I've been through some seriously intense music training in my life, but in the past decade or so, I've gotten a bit lazy about practicing my scales, my long tones, my arpeggios, all that kind of stuff. But now I lead a group of flutists called Flutarians, who are flutists who live and breathe flute and are improving their improvising. That's my whole goal there, is to help you go from a 0, I feel like I'm gonna die when somebody asks me to play music without sheet music, to 5, improvising is cool, this is fun, as quickly as possible, ideally. And I have discovered that the more flute techniques you have at your disposal, or the more skills you have on flute, the more expressive you can be when you're improvising. Now, I don't believe that improvisation is an advanced technique. I think you can start improvising from day one on your instrument. Improvising is just taking what we know and remixing it into something new. We improvise every day with our language, right? So if you just know 3 words on flute, you can remix those. But if you know 3,000 or more words on flute, like I guess I know at this point, you can make some really nuanced musical statements. Now, when I shoot for a flute technique and I try to play it in my improvisation, if it doesn't come out like I had intended, well, maybe I'm not able to express myself quite exactly like I had hoped for. So that's why I'm doing these sessions. I'm calling it the Atomic Flutist, based off of the book Atomic Habits, where you build habits in teeny tiny atomic-sized chunks at a time, and you stack them together to create a reliable system of habits. So I want to help you and me create a reliable system of habits that can achieve and maintain a high level of flute fitness, so that you can be as expressive as possible in your classical studies or in your improvisations. So if you want my prescription for starting to improve your improv confidence in just 3 minutes at a time, 3 times a day, send me a message. I would love for you to try it out and see if it works for you. So let's go ahead and get started with some long tones. We're only going to do this for about 30 minutes today, but you could obviously take these techniques that we're doing and practice them for many hours at a time, or on a day, or throughout the week. So please take this and run with it and practice when you can. In my opinion, it's better to practice in a few small chunks or many small chunks throughout the day than it is to sit down for one lengthy chunk. But different people learn in different ways. Sometimes those lengthy chunks allow us to get into a deep state of focus that helps us really make those connections in our brain. So let's do, I call it the 2-note per breath long tone exercise. And I like to do this starting and ending as quietly as possible. So like pianissimo, and then at the transition to the notes, as fortissimo, as loud as possible. So yesterday I used a visual tuner, and a visual tuner is a great tool, but I was finding it a little bit distracting with the delay, so I'll try it again later this week or next week. But today, instead, I'm going to turn on a drone tone. So I've got a organ sound here on the note of C, and I actually prefer tuning with a drone tone as opposed to a visual tuner, even though both are useful. I like the drone tone because it's closer to replicating the actual experience that you'll have when you're playing with other musicians. When we're playing music live, we don't always get to look at a visual tuner, right? But our ears can process this information quickly, and hopefully we can adjust quickly. So yesterday we did a little bit of the, I called it the Doppler effect. Actually, let's do that just for 3 breaths on this C. So the Doppler effect, looks like Am I peeking out? Does that sound like it's really loud? Let me, boo, boo, boo. I'll check that later. Okay, so the Doppler effect. It's like when, an ambulance is coming towards you and it sounds like it's getting higher and higher and higher, and then when it passes you, it sounds like it's getting lower and lower and lower. So let's try to replicate that effect on our flute, on this C. Let's do that a couple more times. Are you noticing what you have to do with your flute and your body to make the pitch bend down and bend up? Let's do another one. Okay, so now we've refreshed our memories on, hey, welcome, Sherry. We've refreshed our memories some on what to do with our embouchure to bend the pitch. Now we can use that when we're doing 2 notes at a time all the way down to hopefully low C. So listen, especially when you're going up to that loud dynamic, and see if you can continue matching your pitch to the drone. So we'll start on C and go down to B, starting quietly and then transitioning to loud between the notes, and then ending quietly again. Let's walk our way down. I recommend doing this without vibrato, seeing if you can make it as flat as possible so we can listen to what's going on with the pitch when we get louder or softer. Now as we're going all the way down to low C, if you find a note that accidentally cracks up to the upper octave, I recommend going back to the previous set of notes, one that you were able to get out relatively easily, and do that one again, and then try and relax down into the next one. Let's do G to F sharp. Down to low C. I wonder, what are you noticing that's changing with your embouchure when you go lower? Feels like for me that the aperture, the hole in my embouchure, is going from more of a shape like this to more of a flat pancake shape. I'm also noticing something with the velocity of the air. How quickly is the air coming out? And I think for the lower notes we want a slower velocity. Now, one of the reasons I like to practice this without vibrato in the beginning is because adding the muscular contractions of the vibrato sometimes causes the note to crack up, which usually we want to avoid that. So now let's do a little bit of, you might call it intentional cracking up. Let's start on that low C and do some octaves, where let's do this without the tongue at all and see if you can lip your way or embouchure your way to the next octave, and we'll go back up a few notes. Let's do the same thing on D flat. See if you can really sense that transition zone. Sometimes you can get out both notes at the same time and it's like a multiphonic. That's like an extended technique that we usually don't want to make on the flute, but being able to do it on purpose helps us negotiate this difference between the low octave and the high octave. Okay, I'm going to do the same on D. D flat. Let's go back down to low C and do some harmonics and see if we can play not just the next octave up, but then it goes up, I think, a fifth, then to the second octave C, and then another E. Let's see if we can do that same thing we were just doing, lipping up, and just explore, see how high you can go. Let's do the same thing on D flat. Same thing on D. Let's go back and do those three notes again, and this time add the tongue. And before you send out your little ta, think and try and remember, where does my embouchure need to be for this next note? We want to start training and continue the muscle memory training for remembering where your embouchure needs to be for a specific note before your air is really sending out for it. So here we go again on low C with the ta for each note. Okay, same thing on D flat. Same thing on D. I'm going to grab my metronome and we'll do a little bit of metered vibrato work, where the first one that we do, we're going to do just one beat along with this. This is a 60 beats per minute, so like, let me choose my note first. Let's do this on a low G. So like, D, nice and slow, and then we'll do it twice as fast after this. Now let's try and do it twice as fast. Two vibrato waves per beat. Now let's try and do 3 per beat. Now when we use vibrato, we don't want it to sound mechanical, but if we practice it in a mechanical way, hopefully we can learn to control the differences between the slow and the fast. So now let's try this, where we start with it super slow and then turn up the speed to where when we finish our note, it's super fast, and then we'll do the opposite next. So slow to fast. Now let's try and start fast and end slow. This is a technique I really recommend recording yourself and listening back to it so you can hear the little hitches or moments of unexpected muscular movement, so we can continue to recognize them and hopefully start to control them better. Now this is something you can do, and I recommend doing on every note of the flute, but let's move on to a little bit of scale work. So yesterday we did a little bit of the lower octave of C major. Let's stick to the lower octave of C major, and something I would like for us to do over the coming weeks and coming year is to practice our scales starting and ending on every note on the flute. So let's do C major down, and let's do it in this pattern. 1 1 2 1 2 1 2, or 1 7 1 7, and then add a note. Then when you run out of breath, add another note. So we're adding one more note each time going down. practicing this all slurred, you can practice it all tongued as well. Let's go all the way down to F. So I'm trying to listen for any sloppy finger interchanges. I hear a little bit in mine where my fingers are lifting at a slightly different moment. I'm also focusing on that leap back up to the C to make sure my embouchure is ready. So let's go down C down to E. Down to D. Okay, let's try the whole octave. I'll show you a trick I'm doing with my pinky there. So for the high C, this one, we can play it, we're prescribed to play it with this one. Ooh, my key's a little sticky. But we can play it with our fingers still on those two for low C. So I can go from low C to lift my fingers, but my pinky stays where it is. So let's try that octave one more time. Or not, all the way down to the C. Okay, so let's do a little bit of leaps. So this is kind of like the 2 notes per breath that we did earlier, but this time we're going to focus on starting high and then choosing the next note. Let's do this with our tongue. So we'll do first C to B, and then we'll do C to B. Where am I? I'm trying to remember if I want to do this in the chromatic scale or the major scale. Let's do the major scale. So C to B, then C to A, then C to G, then C to F, C to E, C to D, C to C. So let's actually do this one where we hop back and forth like this. Go ahead and join me on the C to B flat. I'm going to go down to A. I'm going to go down to G. Let's try it down to F. Let's go down to the E. to the D. And all the way down to the C. Remember what I said about the pinky. Alright, so when we do this exercise, we're trying to remember exactly where our embouchure should be for the next lower note that's coming out and place it, hopefully, perfectly, so that when our airstream does start, the note comes out in the intended octave and in the intended tone. So, alright, well, thank you for joining me for just 30 minutes of flute technique time. As I was saying earlier, hopefully these techniques will allow you to be as expressive as possible in your improvisation. So join me tonight for improv games if you can at 7 p.m. Central Time, and then I'm going to go live right after that at 8 p.m. Central Time for about 20 or 30 minutes of flute kirtan, where I'll be singing, playing some flute, got some piano backing tracks, and there'll be songs of love and peace. So right before that, at the end of improv games, I'll show how you can play along on flute if you want, and when you're feeling confident, you can maybe even join me on the mic, okay?